my God.
We made it. We did it.
We truly did. We did. I'm so absolutely thrilled and excited. I'm looking to see. All right. Welcome to Your Favorite Ants, the weekly podcast where me and Sarah talk a little bit of shit and get a little hit. You know what I'm saying?
We act like your favorite ants. The ant that you like would actually go to an advice. You know, you would actually.
I have to tell you something. This is honest time, honest talk. You ready for honest time, honest talk? I think that's the worst. I think that's the worst description. I don't want to be perceived as an ant like that.
Tell me how you want to be perceived.
It's just like, it's not like, I just wouldn't describe it that way. I'm just like, because like hanging out with me is not like hanging out like an ant at all.
That's fair.
I'm a parody of an ant.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. The ant you wish you had.
No. I don't think that's responsible. I don't think you should wish me to be a part of your family. That's too much pressure.
Oh, I want you to be part of my family.
Well, I don't have to be your aunt to do that. I don't know. I think I want a different way of describing it. I just want to put that on the table. You know, I'm glad we had this conversation now. Your face is frozen. And I don't know if you can see me there or not. I'm going to turn you off and then maybe turn you back on. Nah, you're still frozen. Well, Sarah, are you there?
I think I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. I can hear you. I never lost you.
Well, I lost you, but now you're here.
I'm here.
That shitty basement Wi-Fi. You need to ask the Lord for something. Anyways, welcome to the pod, everyone. If you are listening on the pod, please go ahead and give us a little chatty shout out in the comments wherever you are. Because they'll pop up over here on the side of the screen as like, if we're asking a question. So just say like, who are you? Where are you from? How are you feeling? That's the questions we have for the audience right now. Who are you? Where are you at? Where are you feeling? Today on the podcast, we have a very, very exciting human joining us today.
I'm so excited.
You may know him from such podcasts such as Exvangelical. You may also know him from his other podcast called Powers and Principalities. You may also know him as just being the person who coined the phrase or the term, oh my God, that beer was...
He definitely didn't coin that phrase right there.
Yeah, he didn't coin that. He did coin arsenicoitai, though. It's Paul, everybody. Woo!
No, he coined the phrase ex-evangelical and has been just doing an incredible job of reaching out and working with and having folks gather around this idea of what does it mean to be an ex-evangelical, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we love him. We know him. And so please welcome to the Your Favorite Ants podcast universe, Blake Chastain. Meow.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Thank you for all those kind words.
Listen, can you hear the professional microphone sound?
So good.
Like, listen, here's something you and me, Sarah, we need to, when we invest in ourselves, we need to maybe get ourselves some of these. Tell us what you're using tonight, Blake.
That's a Shure MV7 USB microphone.
Wow, an industry standard, I hear.
Yeah, it's the USB version of the industry standard radio broadcast one, which is still above what I'm able to spend on equipment.
You and me both.
I feel like I need to like sit on something to be on the same level.
Can you turn your camera down? There, a little bit further.
Is that
a little bit further?
Hold on. There we go.
Oh,
I did it.
Beauty,
There you are.
beauty and majesty, strength and beauty. Be just kidding.
I don't know
Blake,
what's going on with Kevin today. I don't.
can
I have no control.
No, I have to confess to you. I think I'm a little buzzed already. I think I'm buzzed because
I got my rosé right here.
I already drank a full pint of beer.
I'm proud of you. I have just started hard kombucha. I drank a lot last night, so I'm trying to slow it down.
I'm drinking hard kombucha.
Don't. I need to like reset because last night I drank alcohols.
So you're drinking hard kombucha? They're just drinking tea, drinking water.
It's got
Oh, how
Man.
dare you? How
Listen,
dare you?
I am
ma'am.
not here to shame you. I
Yes, you
repent.
are. Thank you.
I repent, and as somebody, I mean, I'm somebody like I don't give a fuck, you know me. But anyways, Blake, we've got a couple of things that we like to get through every single evening, every single week. It's the first part. We just check in with one another. So I'm gonna just toss it to you, Blake. How the hell are you?
I'm doing pretty well, all things considered this week. So yeah, I have had a pretty good week. A couple of parenting things came up, but other than that, pretty laid back week so far.
I've never parented before. I do parent myself.
Mhm.
I reparent myself, and I parent my dog. So
There you go. Yeah. But otherwise, I mean,
that's
this
me
has
trying to
been
be
a pretty
relatable.
laid-back week. July was really busy. A lot of travel. Like, I know you just got back from the road and everything, but I had gone nowhere for like a year and a half, and then all of a sudden was traveling most weekends, which was very different for me after being a homebody for a long time. How was your week, Kevin?
That's not the question you're supposed to ask.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
You're supposed to say, "How the hell are you?"
Oh,
yeah, but I know that you're a good Christian, so I know you don't always use those words.
Am I a good one? Like,
am I a good Christian or am I a Christian? That's the question. But,
what does good mean is really anyway.
You don't
Kevin,
have to be
how
good.
the hell are you? Both of us want to know.
You don't have to be good. You don't have to crawl through the desert. Wait, what?
Heard.
What did Mary Oliver say? I don't know.
You're doing it.
I am delightful and delicious. I'm having such a fun day. It's just been kind of like a lot of sitting and dreaming and thinking about stuff, which is like a lovely creative vibe for me. I cleaned the gutters. I mowed the grass again, and also
They are a homeowner.
I am a homeowner. I had to go buy a ladder so that I could get up and clean the gutters out. And the reason I knew I needed to clean them out was because little small trees were growing out of the gutters, and I was like, "That's not right. That's not good." So
yeah, that's not how that works. Because it actually rains in Atlanta, so you got to watch out for that.
Ooh, but let me tell you what, my elephant ears, I thought they were going to perish, but they are thriving. Truly, truly joyful about that.
And you're happy to be home.
Yeah, indeed. So, Sarah, how the hell are you feeling? How do you exist today?
I'm good. I'm really tired. Went out with my friends last night. Stayed up too late, early,
Classic.
Feeling real 40 right now, guys. Real 40.
40 and thriving.
40 and thriving. I'm doing really well. It has definitely been one of those weeks, right? Like where it's been a roller coaster for me, and poor Kevin is the one who has to take those phone calls.
I don't have to do anything I want to.
Correct. And so just the excitement of like out here working on my trailer, and some days it's going really well and some days it's not going really well, and it's a lot of work and I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. And working on what's next for me career-wise has been a little bit stressful, but also it's been really fun to be here in Bend, Oregon. Guys, the people that are here are just, I can kind of relate a little bit, Blake, where I feel like when I was in California, I don't know if it was because I was living during COVID times. I mean, I've lived in California for a long time, but I feel like I was never around people. I think part of it was being a pastor. Part of it was all these other things, but being around people here has been just fantastic. I am enjoying being amongst the people. And so we'll get into it later, but wear your damn mask, people, because I'm an introvert and I've missed people.
Mm-hmm. Listen, she says, I've missed being with the dolls.
Yes, I have.
I mean,
brunching, guys. There's this thing called brunch that happens on Sunday. Did you guys know about it?
Girl, I am the high priest of the Church of Brunch. Where have you been?
Fair.
My also like that is, oh my God, that's what I'm doing this Sunday. Oh, I'm so happy to be back. Yeah. So we were asking the audience too to tell us in the comments. Our friend Shane over here is like tired, on edge, but glad to be here. You know, I'm glad you're here too,
Shane.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you're feeling on edge. Maybe if you take a little bevy. And also Peggy, Peggy, shout out to Peggy, who's one of my friends, and she came to the show in Minneapolis. It was really great. She's feeling the same introvert, can't take this isolation. What do we do
anymore? Yeah, it's a little bit everyone that I am good friends with here are either first responders or are nurses, and so just sort of hearing from like their perspective everything that they're going through is super interesting. Like so many of them are just in COVID fatigue. Like they're just so tired and they're just like, where you get vaccinated? Like they can't handle it, guys.
Get
and I don't
that thing vaccinated.
I saw something. I mean, this is nothing compared to your personal interactions, but I saw something on like TikTok just about, it was of a nurse that was like, I'm done. And it was just about the past year and a half. And a lot of people think that there's going to be a lot of people burned out from just being, in the nursing industries, first responders, all those people that provide this care for people.
Yeah. I'm actually shocked, even within my own career, as I've stepped away, the number of people who have told me that they're so burnt out as pastors. Like, and I know that's a different field and a different thing, but I think being asked to be all these different things in different ways is just, and that goes across, I mean, that is across all fields. I think I'm wondering how much we're going to see like burnout. And if we're going to learn how to deal with it and learn how to talk about it and learn how to talk about sabbatical and rest and what that means and what that looks like.
And caring for like the whole human and like for every human. Something you said, just like, I know they're different industries and yes. And at the same time, it's helping professions in general.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything service oriented.
My therapist said something to me this week that was really interesting. She said,
the fact that you can say your therapist put you ahead of a lot of people. So you know what?
There you go.
That's a great thing. Yeah. Don't limit yourself.
You're just offering free therapy to people that aren't in it right now.
That's right. So she said, I would like to offer the suggestion that you have PTSD. And she said, I would like to offer the suggestion that you have PTSD from having to serve people because you love people so much, but you're finding my reactions to things are so raw and strong. So like I get a text message and I'm like, and it's like, it's a very interesting response. And it's in my entire body. And so we need to talk about that as well. As like, how do we care for our bodies we're not post, right? We're not, how do we care for our bodies
right now?
Yeah. Which actually goes into our next section really well. Can we go into, so one of our first section is Did You Hear? Which is kind of our pop culture section. And I would love to talk about the Olympics for lots of reasons. But one of them is I think it has opened this conversation around body and care for body and care for mind. And there's a couple of really interesting stories. It's not just Simone Biles, her story. I mean, incredible what she has done. At the same time, the reaction. Are you guys surprised by the reaction, or
am I surprised at like the reaction to like people like treating people? It's like Simone Biles nearly like wipes out and says, I'm gonna take a step back,
right?
Because I can't handle this shit right now. And I know that if I do this again, I'm going to hurt myself. And then like, jump over to like some Eastern European person who was in the tennis. He lost and he broke his tennis racket on the court and nobody said shit about it. So I'm like, okay, things I'm seeing, it's Another Black woman being persecuted for taking care of herself. And, like, also it's just like, people are not machines, and people are not, and this is what capitalism does to us, right? It teaches us that like, your body is only as worth the labor it can produce. And if you're on a national stage, the labor that Simone Biles' body can produce is a gold medal and pride and thinking that we're the best, when in reality, the system is not sticking up for her, but what she can produce.
I loved all these people were like, she's letting her teammates down, and all of her teammates. There has not been one that hasn't come out and said, she's once again leading us. She is once again leading us. And I'm a 3, people-pleasing 3. I'm a 3 with a 2 wing on the Enneagram, if you will. And I remember having all the shame and fear, telling my leadership team that I was stepping down. And one of them said to me, once again, you're teaching us how to rest. And like, once again, you're teaching us something. And I think so often with these Olympians, as someone who grew up an athlete and grew up in that environment in a very minuscule way, like, just as, I actually saw the time for the hurdles was like faster than how fast I ran a 400. And I went to state and South State in the 400 with my relay team. So I was fast back in the day, but they are faster than me with hurdles, guys, with hurdles. But I think it is a conversation we need to have, because the mental and physical well-being, there's also, have you guys heard about, I put it in our notes, because the Belarus runner, have you guys heard about this Belarus runner who critiqued a coach and then was told she had to tell them that she wasn't, she was injured and was having to go back to Belarus when really she was about to be persecuted. And so she, in the airport, is surrounded by her coaches, and she goes up to a Japanese security guard and figures out how to type in Google, I need help. And they rescued her, and she's in Poland.
Oh, she requested asylum, right? Is that what? Yeah.
Dang.
Because as an athlete,
I hadn't heard the first part of that story. I didn't know that that's why she did it.
Yeah, it's she wrote something on Twitter that was like questioning of the leadership, and her grandmother called and said, you need to know what they're saying about you here.
Yeah, because that sounds like a scary thing, almost as scary as Sarah's frozen face. She'll come back in a second.
She'll come back. But Kevin, did you even know what the twisties were before? Like,
no, never heard of them.
I never heard of it once.
Well, the thing is, like, as soon as they said the twisties, I knew exactly what they meant, though.
Yeah, you knew it, but I also don't think, like, no one even knew that this was a thing that these elite gymnasts like had to deal with, and like that could be something that could just happen to any gymnast at any level. And the fact that no one even knew that was possible, like some people know it in baseball and stuff, they know what the yips are, which is where you just stop being able to perform. But no one,
you're not supposed to talk about
even heard the term the twisties. So, but it makes sense. Like, you're flying through the air. Like, if you don't know where your orientation, you're gonna be hurt.
There's this beautiful chance too for us to see leadership look differently, right? For us to see people putting their well-being in a time when we are being asked to push ourselves and keep pushing ourselves and push through and break the blockade and do the thing.
Well, like, here's the thing with me, just like, I never, like, I think in the past 2 years, I don't push for anything anymore. I don't want to push. I want to lay down. I want to flow. I want to be easy. And I am not trying to, like, put my body in any sort of situation where I could feel discomfort, not discomfort, but just like, I don't need to do that anymore. None of us do. And I think, like, what would happen if we all just, like, mass invested in our own mental health? What if we all took a fucking nap? What if we all demanded of our bosses a living wage? What if we all demanded healthcare? What if we demanded, I mean, like, this is what I mean, like, and this is like me being, I guess, like, I'm fired up because I've been listening to a lot of, like, socialist podcasts. But, like, this is literally, like, what I
seize the means of production, Kevin.
Seize the fucking means of production. But that's literally it. I'm just like, I mean, like, I think like the thing that I am recognizing now is like our the whole thing from top to bottom in America, government, education, it's infected with capitalism and patriarchy, and we literally have to start creating new ways of being in the world. Like, it's no
Yes.
longer an option. And I think that, you know, for those of us who find ourselves on, like, you know, like this just left of Christian land, if you will, or just outside of Christian land, or somewhere like in between lands, you know, I think there's like, I mean, I'm just like, I feel like, at least for me, I figured it out for myself. And I think that's something that is available for everybody if they want it, you know?
I think it's very fascinating. So as I've stepped away from my current position and I'm working on all this other stuff, guys, men, almost daily, someone DMs me asking how I'm making a living. And when I respond, oh, I prepared, I saved money before I did this, whatever, I hear, must be nice. That's not how it would work for me. And it's this very fascinating thing where I'm like, whoa.
Wait, they literally say must be nice?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean it must be nice?
It's the weirdest.
Because they have 2.5 kids and a wife and a giant house and a mortgage and all their bills, and you are a dope ass single woman who owns a couple of properties and has a 401k.
That is true. I think so. There's this
choices are choices,
but there's also this sense of I want to reiterate something that goes all the way back to what we're talking about, but this idea of scarcity and abundance. And I think that is our biggest thing. Like if they rest, that means I could rest, but I don't know that I'm supposed to rest because I've been told if I rest, someone's going to get ahead of me and pass me up. Some athlete, some person in my job, whatever, is going to get ahead.
Sha'Carri Richardson, she could just blow by you in an instant.
Right. There's nothing for me. There is this scarcity, and I have to remind myself all the time that is a capitalist narrative that I definitely have bought into, but I have to ask the question, like, am I okay? If I know in myself, because let me tell you guys, these DMs, because I've had several, like I said, almost every day, they throw me, you know, I want to, like, one guy was like, I'm just curious, what do you actually do for a living?
Girl, you know how many people ask me that on a daily basis as well? And I'm like, what do I do for a living? Well, here's also, I want to reframe that because they also, they mean, what do you do to make money?
Right.
Because what do I do to make a living?
You were gonna say this. Yes.
What do I do to make a living? I sit down on that yoga mat every single morning and I pray. I would take my dog for a walk, smoke a little weed. I make sure I masturbate. You know, the good life.
All the good stuff every day.
Yes.
You should be a youth pastor.
Oh my God. Like the internet's okay.
Mason.
No, that is Mason. Mason is the internet. So what am I? I'm definitely just the internet.
The internet's aunt, and we can talk about it later.
I don't want to be the internet's aunt. I'm the internet's. I'm like, I mean, I said it on my other podcast with Jamie. I said that digital pastor is just a Trojan horse to get people to talk to me so I can get them into my cult.
To get them into your cult.
Yeah, right?
Oh, you just outed yourself, honey.
I outed myself a long time ago. People like
as a trying to be godmother, Kevin. You are 100% a godmother.
A godmother? I could do that. Yeah, I'd be down with that. Yeah, see,
Yes.
Yeah.
And if I have a child, you are 100% going to be the official godmother.
I'm down, honestly. Anybody out there want me to be your child's godparent? I can lead them in the ways, the old ways.
Actually, this leads us to our next one. Are you ready?
What?
An incredible movie came out about
oh my God.
called Pray Away. Our friend worked on this, Miles, and it is. I
Mhm.
haven't watched it yet because I have been told that, and from people who really know and love me, so not like told that I need to
Mhm.
watch it within certain settings because
You
it
need
is
to watch it during the day. You need to watch
during the
it with
day.
a friend,
People,
and you need to give yourself at least an hour afterwards to recuperate.
yeah. Have you watched it yet, Blake?
I have not. No, I
Okay, if you're watching this live and you've watched it, we want to hear what your
Dean?
Dean
thoughts
says Dean's
are.
already watched it. We
Yeah.
would love to hear what you think of it.
Yeah,
What do you?
tell us in the chat here what we've got. I'm trying to see if like the it'll come up. Dean, my wife and I watched it last night. What were your thoughts on it? Blake, you said you haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it. I've seen the trailer. I've seen like some of the people
I
that
saw
are
the trailer.
featured, and you know, I'm very very interested in how it's going to be received, not just on the sort of people that we all know within the networks we've established that are sort of in this space have gone through these problems, like watching some of the folks react to it, like uh, oh, who did I see that had some really good comments about it? There were a handful of people that were commenting about it on Jonah on Twitter. Had a good thread about it, and yeah, I just haven't made the time yet because, as you said, like set aside that time to be able to process it. And I mean,
Yeah.
the first time, Kevin, that I ever talked to you, like you know, 5 years ago, almost. You talked about your own experience and those sorts of things, and yeah, it's impacted so many people.
It's very interesting because I've been so far removed from this, like the conversation like this for so long. I mean, I guess technically it's not been that long, like because Exodus closed its doors right as I was becoming a missionary, and so like that was like the tail end of my stuff. But like even after they closed, like I still like I was a part of Living Waters Ministry, which was an offshoot, and is one of the larger offshoots that still operates in the U.S. But like when I watched it, I cried, you know, as predicted. But I cried mostly. I cried during when Julie. There's a part when Julie is reading part of her book, which I will let you be the. Actually, you know what we need to do. We're gonna get Julie on here. I'm just gonna speak that into existence. Oh my God, Julie, Aunt Julie.
But she reads part of her book that's about self-harm, right?
She does, and it is. As I'm sitting there, I was like, oh my God, same. And I'm just sitting here. I'm just like, it makes perfect fucking everything that I did to myself finally makes sense now. I was like, oh, I get it now. And so I found myself having a lot of compassion for myself. I found myself having a lot of compassion for the people who started Exodus and like started that whole thing, because it was started by gay people who were convinced that they were doing the right thing. And you know what? People do a lot of stupid things in the name of trying to do the right thing. But also it's like, it's very interesting to me that early on people noticed that something was wrong and were trying to raise the alarm, but how quickly people were just like, I'm just like, wow, once again, the empire like exploited these minorities. Again, the church exploited these minorities. Again.
I think it's hard too, because I know as someone who grew up in a more progressive setting, and I remember sitting with a dear friend who had gone through, I think it was Exodus, and was sharing the story of no longer being gay, and it was a joyful thing for them. But I had learned from my upbringing and friend groups and things like that, that kind of two things that were hard and didn't work together. One was you always let someone have their story, right? So this is his story. He's sharing it like, I found this freedom, da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, But your story is so damn it. Like, but
Mhm.
who, you know, so I remember just as someone who, you know, is an ally and not even part of the community in that way, I felt this pain for maybe I don't know the whole story. Maybe this is good for people. And I remember just feeling that and how difficult it was to see people that I loved in it, because it was people I knew who were choosing this for themselves because they were trying to find the joy and freedom that they thought they were being offered through it. And I want to give
Okay, and real quick, when you're saying it and this, you're talking about people who are actively choosing to not act on their same sex attractions. People who are like part of the ex-gay movement.
Right. And I thought, okay, but in the same way, just because of the culture and community I grew up in, I was like, this can't be good, you know? And so it was a very weird. So that's the part I'm looking forward to hearing is what was actually happening for those folks internally, knowing that they were only sharing a part of that with me.
I think, well, because also what I think the documentary does a good job of is both framing the people who started all these things, like what happened, why it happened, and then also how it broke down, both like the mental and physical toll, both on the people who were leading this thing, and with the people who they were trying to minister to, people who were getting hurt, people who were hurting themselves and, you know, taking their own lives in some cases. And they also, in the same documentary, feature people who are part of the modern ex-gay movement, like the Change movement out of Bethel, the Freedom March. And they do it in a way that I think is as respectful as they can. They literally just film their meeting and they share this, you know, they share the story. But like, as I'm sitting there, I'm just like, there's still like the thing that's the thing that's still wrong here is like, y'all think that the way to God is to be straight, is that you like, and also you spend your entire, like, you made your entire life about walking away from this thing. Like, you're the ones who are not putting your identity in Christ, but what do I know? But it's one of those things where I get it because I was there. When you are convinced that God will send you to hell if you don't do XYZ things, you will do anything. And who the fuck keeps texting me?
You're just too popular.
Me. It's not me.
And why is my... Ugh, sorry. I don't know why I got so angry with that.
Usually it's me because you have PTSD. I'm just kidding. But seriously, that's what I was.
No, I do. I mean, like, you know, complex PTSD. All to say, I loved it. I cried, and I also felt very good at the end of it. I felt it was cathartic for me because I felt like a lot of my experiences that I've never been able to articulate. I'm like, I can't really explain to you what it was like because you had to be there. And I feel like they were able to give a very clear picture of what was going on and how we all felt. And so I feel like I've been talking to a lot of my friends who were out of Exodus and who had gone through that. And a lot of us are saying, yeah, I finally, like, this has finally given me some closure.
That's what I've heard on a couple of friends from people who are like, ooh, watching this was I didn't think I'd be ready. And then I felt this sense of closure and almost validation for here's where I'm at. So everyone go watch it.
That's really encouraging that it has that impact on people that have experienced that. Because I feel like the flip side of that, the other side of the coin, is going to be people that have no idea what everyone that went through that, what that experience was like. And so it's going to be eye-opening for them, and they're going to have to process and own their own feelings. But for it to be a source of healing is in lots of ways even better to hear. It's so cool. I mean, it's cool meaning good. I don't know.
I think it's cool and good.
Peggy asked you, Kevin, do you have thoughts for those of us who are queer but never made it to conversion therapy? Do you mean I have some clarifying questions.
Clarify that thoughts like watching the film, because if that's your question, that is definitely one I can answer. I think that like if you like watch it if you want to. I will say if you are someone who's easily triggered and has like, here's my thing. If you're someone who you get easily triggered, this is trauma. Like I would classify this as trauma porn. Don't trigger yourself just because you think you need to watch this. You don't have to do anything. And if you like, it's hard to watch. It's fucking hard as shit to watch because you are seeing, hearing, and watching something terrible play out right in front of you and people explaining to you why they did terrible things. And then the thing is just like, they didn't know they were doing terrible things. They thought they were doing God's will, but like, it's hard to sit there and listen to them justify or try to justify. And they're not trying to justify, they're just explaining what happened. And for me, by the end of it, I was filled with compassion for them. Now, granted, I ain't gonna fuck with most of them, but that's my business. But it's like, I understand. I understand why now.
So go watch it if you can. Dean has a big answer for it.
Dean's thoughts. Should I put it up on the screen? I'm skimming it.
Sure. It's really long. It's good.
So Dean's guy says, I really enjoyed it. Of course, certain parts of it made me angry. I knew one of the guys who was a friend of the gentleman at the beginning who was claiming to have been changed. Yep. He's a part of our ministry according to this, supportedly helping people. And it cuts off. I'm going to keep reading it over here. People get delivered from being gay, quote unquote. He's married and has a kids now. It's hard for me to say as much as a straight man, but my wife and I are very outspoken allies to the LGBTQ plus community in our area. Thanks. And that's the thing, is that people who go that direction, like, I have no doubt that they believe that this is exactly what Spirit is leading them to do. And at the same time, if it is making you miserable, that's data to respond to. And like, that's the thing. If I could sit down with people, I'm just like, so how is this making you feel? Are you happy? Like, are you happy? Because if you're happy, then like, we have nothing else to discuss.
Right.
But if you're not, I mean,
are you happy and not harming others? That's the other piece of this, right? Are you happy and not harming others? Because I think the piece is this person trumpeting along, this is the way for all of you, is
harmful. Yes.
Yeah. One time,
and that's what they bring up. It's just like, we're not being heard. I'm just like, the thing about it is, within Christian spaces, you are. The places that you actually care about being heard, you are being heard. And actually, you are leveraging your political powers in order to fight off an offense that does not exist. And in fact, you are using it to continuously demean, destroy, and dismantle any small rights that we already have as queer people. That's what you're actually doing. So as far as what you are doing with your life, yes, I love that for you. Get your shit out of the fucking courts. Stop trying to limit my rights. And you allow me to use whatever fucking bathroom I need to, because sometimes I'm wearing a dress, okay? Ugh.
Blake, you were going to say something before we both went into a rant.
No, it's totally fine. We had moved on. No, don't worry about it.
I would like to move on because we are also.
Are we doing always?
Well, so we're recording the Evangelical right after this, right?
Yeah. If you guys are able to do that, that'd be great.
I am in.
Okay.
I am in it to win it.
Yes. Tight. But we need to get on to our next portion of the pod. It is
airing of the grievances.
We can probably just like, I mean, I don't think, do I have any grievances? Did I write anything down?
You didn't.
What do you got?
I just want to talk about the eviction moratorium for a minute.
Okay, yeah, hit it.
I just think it's really frustrating for folks to say COVID is over.
Give context. What's the story here? Right. Some people don't know the news.
So a lot of people have been fighting for the eviction moratorium. So government was helping bail people out who weren't able to pay their rent, making sure that people who own the places and spaces And by the way, I say all of this as someone who owns a place that they rent out. So I am a landlord. And so eviction moratorium was you cannot evict people during this time. And that ended. But COVID and some of the restrictions and reasons why people couldn't afford their rent hasn't ended. And so people fought and fought and fought and fought. Keep going.
No, keep going.
And basically we were down to like a 24-hour thing. I don't know if you were watching it at all. I've been trying to stay away from the news, but also this is important. So I was reading it. But eventually it did make it all the way to the president, who then voted that we should keep the moratorium, but he says it's he thinks it's unconstitutional and that his thing will be shot down. So just wondered if either of you had thoughts on it.
I think if the eviction moratorium doesn't go through, we're going to have a homeless epidemic. I think that this country is going to go even further into a bigger crisis than we've seen in a long time. And I'm not even saying that ironically or with any sort of humor. I really think it's going to be one of the biggest problems we face if people have the power to throw people out on the street. And also, what a terrible check-in on our humanity.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll just echo that. Like, I think that I think that, as you were talking about earlier, Sarah, this idea of scarcity, like we have just abundant wealth, and we can find capital for all sorts of things, but we can't find the capital to ensure that people aren't homeless during a period when literally the air is toxic for those that haven't been vaccinated. I mean, that's just absurd. And I don't know, like I have the same sort of desire for the things that would address that, like, universal basic income seems like automation is staring. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of other just like existential threats, and the fact that we're considering throwing people out of their homes is just so unjust.
It doesn't make any fucking. Also, like, where do you want them to go? Because then they become, and it's like, because then they become, one of those homeless people that you can't fucking stand. And why don't they just fucking get a job? Well, it's called COVID-19, and it's killed a bazillion people.
It should just be it should just be the Jeff Bezos had a really fucking good 2020. He went to space in 2021, special tax just so that we can take care of this.
Yeah, it's going to be called the fun tax. The Jeff Bezos fun tax.
Well, and not Jeff Bezos. I don't know if you guys saw that the Justice Department is actually suing. I gotta look it up. I don't know what state it is.
Come on, current events. Bring it up.
The Phoenix police are being looked at for the way that they've been treating the folks who are experiencing homelessness or who are unsheltered, because they've been doing this like picking up all their stuff and moving it and throwing it, like all this stuff. And it's incredible that we're finally having conversations around this. My brother and his dear friend are just incredible advocates. My brother's best friend is an incredible advocate for the homeless in his area. And one of the things that's really hard is they just keep moving people from place to place to place. And in the midst of it, you're upsetting people, because when you move people from place to place to place to place, so they'll clean up a camp and move them into another area, but they do things like have lights on these people, and it's just a terrible situation. And so the Justice Department is actually going after Phoenix for this kind of behavior.
Interesting. I hope that they actually do something about it. I'm not hopeful though, and I'm seriously considering trying. I don't know where the fuck I would. Nowhere's good. Like, that's the thing. Where would we go?
Nowhere is good. So here's the thing. We just Wendell Berry it. We get really invested in our local area and do what we can on a local level, right?
Everyone join fairfight.org so you can ensure the future of Georgia.
Yes, Georgia.
And the future of the vote in general. Stacey Abrams will save us all.
Yes, Stacey Abrams will save us all. Oh, I love
my
her.
grievance. My grievance is Tucker Carlson in Hungary. That's my grievance.
Bring it. Tell us more.
Yes, tell us
speak
more
on
about
it.
that. I just read an article. Tell me more.
So Tucker Carlson is like spending the week in Hungary, and actually, Hungary is basically this sort of staging ground that a lot of Republicans that have more autocratic tendencies really look to and want to partner with, because even though they have elections, they're so heavily stacked that it's basically de facto control by the ruling party. And Orban, once he came back to power in 2010, um, he was actually aided by the same American political strategist that saw the populist appeal of Donald Trump back in 2011. He saw the potential for Trump in politics. The same guy helped him. And Hungary is just like it's really demolished checks and balances, rewrote their constitution under him, made sure that marriage was just between a man and a woman, and all sorts of really just lovely far right policies. And the fact that Tucker Carlson is the most popular TV host in the country, and he's just trying to mainstream this this person and this government is really, really disconcerting for people that keep an eye on like conservative politics and the ways in which they communicate with their base, which again, 70 million people voted for Donald Trump just a few months ago.
And I think we're going to find that Venn diagram between Tucker and Trump is actually just a perfect circle.
Yeah. And so
a perfectly terrible circle.
It's disconcerting. And even people like Rod Dreher, Mr. Benedict option, Mr. whatever, he's also in Hungary, and he's just from a conservative Christian perspective trying to normalize this sort of stuff. And this rhetoric is not good. And the fight's not over just because Biden won.
Also Biden is also apparently like totally standing behind Line 3, which if you don't, this is also a grievance I will bring up that I didn't know. If you didn't know, a Canadian company is currently trying to build an oil pipeline through native territory, native sovereign land. So it's another Standing Rock situation, if you will. You can check out #StopLine3 across all social media platforms, although TikTok is apparently suppressing a lot of people. It's very interesting. It's so. Oh, and like what's also like wild is that they were like giving police and security forces like authorization to use lethal force on the water protectors. Like,
and they have been, like, you can see all the bruises and all that sort of stuff. It's not, ugh. And that is Biden. I mean, there's still, that's the thing. It's hard, right? Because we want to have something to rally behind and rally for. And I hate that, like, he's the better of two evils, right?
And that's
even so, like, there have been steps forward. It's just, it's like, it's hard because we're all connected all the time and we like feel the weight of everything, so like we can see literal human suffering on our phone at any point in the day. And like, it's very easy to get overwhelmed. So part of me thinks that sometimes you just have to like choose your lane, not just stay in your lane, but like choose a lane and focus on whatever that issue is and work with other people that are doing stuff in their lanes, because it's so their complex.
Voices. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Let them be really informed, figure out a way to support them continuing to be informed, and just sort of, I agree.
Like start a group of irreverent media things.
Do it.
That was
or was it really great? Well, friends, we're getting close to time, which means that we're going to run out of time to do questions. So we will just save them all for next week. Because I figure like we are, but I wanted to just end this with any words of wisdom, any thoughts or happy feelings that you have that you'd like to share as we depart.
Yeah, I think good advice, right? Like, I think that was our whole thing was like, what's some good advice that you share with other people?
What's the best advice that you could give that you're gonna? What's the advice that do we want to be sappy or do we want to be fun?
I think you can do either.
Well, just like, what's the advice that you're giving yourself right now?
The sort of advice that I'm trying to give to myself is that, actually I'll say this, which is something just from my day job that I've been saying to some folks that I've also been, because I work in sort of a service type role within my organization. And to some of my coworkers, I've been saying it's not magic, it's math. And what I mean by that in my particular context is like, no, I can't make my coworker can't make the image crisper because you gave us a low resolution file. Like the pixels aren't there, but the way I think about that, because I make all sorts of things abstract that don't need to be abstract. Now I'm trying to think of that in my own sort of life and the sort of whatever sort of work I'm doing. A lot of it's just continuing to do the work, even with trying to do it wisely, with what you were talking about earlier of knowing when you need to rest. And that's also part of the work is learning what your limits are. And when you've hit them. But for the most part, it's just, my advice is to, if you have something that you enjoy or that you are passionate about, keep at it. Even if you feel like the dividends aren't coming as fast as you want,
because it's math.
Keep at it. Yeah, it'll keep building.
Because at the end of the fucking day, if you like doing it, keep doing it. If you don't like doing it, don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that is one of the absolute benefits of having a friend like Kevin, who will let me rant on and on about something. Go, do you want to do it? And because I'll give all the reasons, like, well, this person needs me to do this thing, and I do this thing, and blah, blah, blah. And then Kevin will go, that's not what do you want? Is it bringing you joy?
Yeah.
Do you want to do it? And I don't even.
Kevin's a great person to talk to. Kevin's a great person to talk to because he figured that out. Like, yeah, I feel like he figured that out early. Like a lot of people spend their 20s and 30s and they're like, God damn it, why do I keep doing this? Why am I burning out at work? Why did it? And
I will tell you,
you dialed into it early.
It is completely a product of kind of being surrounded by awesome people, like from the jump. Like when I came out, I had amazing people, I had amazing friends. I had teachers who said, slow down, and I took them seriously. I think that's the thing is like, it's not that I'm any better than anybody. It's just that, like, I don't know, just I do it. And
this was a compliment, so I think it's a great.
Well, I receive it. Thanks so much. It's 9 p.m. where I am, and we need to get on to the next recording.
Can I give you my advice? And
oh my God, I'm so sorry. Please.
Patriarchy, maybe.
No, it would be.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, it does. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what kind of oppression. Sexism.
I know. Sexism.
Sure. Go ahead.
So the thing that I keep reading this week, well, two things. John O'Donohue is my favorite poet. We know this. I post stuff about him all the time. But Morgan Herbert Nichols, who is a friend of mine and actually is someone that now Kevin knows and is just
Morgan.
She's wonderful. She posted this thing that said, the future will arrive when it's time for it to arrive, and you do not have to exhaust yourself trying to figure out how you will get there. And I think for me and where I'm personally at, I spend so much time with my wheels spinning. And I think that is great advice for me, is that you cannot slow down or speed up time. And so you're missing out when all I do is sit and just like get really like, I start to try to rush to the next thing. And then I'm not living into this. Like I planned this time to be here so that I would slow the hell down. And then I got here and was like, okay, how the hell do I slow down? Remember, you are here now. Be here now. Be here now. Be here now. I like it.
Alan Watts.
Ram Dass.
Ram Dass. I'm sorry.
How dare you? I don't care.
Friends, this has been a fantastic show. It is so good having Blake on here. I want to remind everyone to take care of themselves. What do we say every week? Make sure you take your meds. Make sure you drink your water. Call your person.
Make sure
move your body.
Yeah. And I would say, I want you to tell yourself a joke. Make yourself laugh.
Make good decisions or bad.
Yeah. We love you. We've had a really, really great time. Tell your friends. Come back next week, same time, same place, right here on
We're doing
YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitch. We're live every single Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Well, it's daylight time. Whatever the time is, that's the one you go for. We like you so much. Thank you, Shane. Thank you.
Like you. We love you. Go ahead.
We love you. And Blake, before we sign off, tell people where they can find you on the internet and also promote anything that you want to promote, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. You can find me on Twitter. That's where I usually hang out online at BR Chastain. Instagram at BR Chastain with an underscore at the end there. I also write a newsletter called The Post-Evangelical Post. And you can find that at postevangelicalpost.substack.com and Exvangelical wherever you listen to podcasts. All sorts of fun projects.
Sarah, can you where do people find you, and do you have anything that you want to promote?
Sure, yeah. You can find me at Rev Sarah Heath across most platforms. Right now I'm kind of taking a break from Twitter, to be honest, just because I've been really focused on my project of working on my Airstream. And so you can find, I just did an artist takeover conversation with an incredible community called Holy Family in Houston. They have amazing artists. So check that out. And my podcast that I was working on, Making Spaces, still you can catch all of that. And I think that's all I've got going on right now. I've got some events coming up, but they're all like at people's smaller communities. And come to Wild Goose.
Bar mitzvahs, etc.
Bar mitzvahs, guys, and we're all part of something called Irreverent Media Group, and just the most delightful humans. Literally, I think the people I call every day are all from this. Justin and I had the longest conversation the other day. I think just an incredible group of humans who are trying really hard to be in the world, helping folks wherever they are in the journey. So check that out.
And you can follow me across the internet at the Kevin Garcia. I would like to promote that Wonderfully Made in Atlanta is coming up on August 27th, featuring Jamie Lee Finch, Andre Henry, and my friend Keith Manhinnick. They're all my friends, but like Keith is probably the person you don't know, but you will. You will.
But you should.
He's wonderful. So it's going to be a powerhouse time. Hang out with us there, and another podcast, A Tiny Revolution. And that's it. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week, everyone. Good night. Goodbye. You're beautiful.